As oil prices soar to record levels, Nigeria ordinarily is expected to be raking in billions of dollars and realizing accretion in external reserves, as was the case in the past, especially during the Gulf War and some other international emergencies. But unfortunately, this is not the case, as the country is still battling myriads of challenges in the oil and gas sector. Nigeria's oil production quota by OPEC has revolved around 1.8 million barrels per day, as the country has repeatedly missed its target due to oil theft, a development that has shored up an increase in fuel subsidy payments to 4 trillion naira. It's the problem of waning investment in the oil sector, as well as massive oil theft that has gone unabated in the last few years and drastically reduced Nigeria's crude oil exports, leading to inability to meet the country's OPEC quota. These factors have combined to ensure that the country does not benefit from the current soaring crude oil prices buoyed by the Russian and Ukraine war. To discuss this and of course other pressing issues in the oil and gas industry, I'm being joined live via Zoom by the chairman of International Energy Services Limited, Dr. Dino Fawibe. Good afternoon, sir. It's good to see you. Dr. Fawibe, can you hear me?
Hello, good afternoon. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Yes, oil theft is where I want us to start this discussion. A lot of figures concerning losses, even the NNPC and the chairman of Tony Elumelu recently alluded to the fact that we are losing billions of dollars to oil theft. Now, what in your reaction could be responsible for this? And with all the efforts by government, are you sure that we're going to address this very shortly?
Okay, if you can hear me, it is pertinent for me to, first of all, commiserate with the people of Imo State and indeed Nigerians over the tragedy that happened.
Go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
For me to, first of all, commiserate with the people of Imo State and indeed Nigerians over the tragedy.
Go ahead. We can hear you.
That happened in Imo State. And a few days ago, whereby over 100 people were killed, as a result of explosion due to, we all know this, due to oil theft. And when you look at the venue of the incident, it was like a war front, whereby corpses were littering all over the place. And it's very unfortunate, this incident could happen again, due to oil theft. Oil theft, is one of the major problems in Nigeria currently, which has received the attention of government. And indeed, the president only a few days ago, gave orders, marching order to the Minister of State for Petroleum, as well as the DMD of NNPC and security agencies to ensure that they put an end to this problem. And the fact that this is happening is very unfortunate. The president ought not to get to the point of having to give marching orders before this problem is solved. It should be a matter of routine for security agencies to ensure that this type of menace doesn't happen in our country. And one tends to wonder what is happening to the state government and the local government and even the communities, the community leaders. These things are happening in their various domains. Why should this be happening? And then we are not able they are not able to curb these things happening day in, day out. And we know the problem that the oil theft has caused for our economy in terms of depriving the national treasury of the money that should accrue as a result of the oil being stolen. Not to talk about the tragedy that we are currently witnessing about the oil theft.
Experts will say that oil theft is not just being carried out by just anybody. So we have some taking this oil and some buying from them. So what should be done at both ends? Also checking out with those countries that collude to buy the crude oil that is stolen, maybe at lesser prices than the market price.
Well, it's as you can imagine, the people who are buying oil from buy stolen oil, they are making good money out of this because invariably the oil being stolen used to be sold at a much cheaper price, lower price than the current the market price. So the buyers, are making good deals about this. So invariably they will always find buyers. So what should happen is that we have to be creative now in terms of how we curb these menace, from happening. The fire incident, is one too many. As you know, we have witnessed a lot of explosion, due to oil theft, either crude oil or petroleum products. Even starting from 1998, where we have the JSA incident, we are close to about 1,000 people were killed because they were siphoning petroleum products. And since that time, we have been having this. But in terms of the crude oil, it's a disincentive to the oil producing companies from making investment. I can tell you that the major oil companies are sick and tired of all this. And lately, the independent companies, that is Nigerian companies who are borrowing money, to invest in the upstream business, are now shouting that, hey, there's so much oil being stolen. Even though the regulatory agency came out, I think a couple of days ago that, the amount of the percentage of crude oil being stolen is not up to 80% of 90% as some operators were claiming, but close to about 10%. But even then, no matter the volume being stolen, we should be able to curb this.
I'd like to follow up with the issue of local refining. Yes, condolence also to the Imo State people, just like you said, more than 100 people passed on in this. While I would not support illegality, what more can be done with promoting local refining? Can anything be done professionally so that all of this can be avoided before all our refineries become functional?
Basically, in the first place, we should be able to, one method that can be adopted is by fingerprinting of the Nigerian crude oil. In other words, wherever the oil is taken to, through the technological tool of fingerprinting of crude oil, you'll be able to discover that this oil is a stolen crude. It shouldn't be difficult, and I think it's possible for NNPC to engage in this. So, because the problem now is too serious. Now, we know that this stolen oil is being put into illegal refineries. Government has to find a way to stop the illegal refining. Over the years, we used to have DTF, destroying illegal refineries all over Niger Delta. And in fact, the menace, has caused a lot of problem for that area in terms of degradation of the environment. We still haven't gotten out of land problems, So, and you can imagine that the land being devastated in this manner will not be fit for any other purpose, So, it is in that respect that government has to find a way to curb this. And I will put it that the federal government ought to call all the state governments of those affected areas, the local government, and because what are they doing? They want their area. They should be able to give close supervision. The federal government went into signing a contract with some companies, who are providing security. It appears this is not effective. Then, if it is a question of modular refineries, government should have to set up, probably make arrangement with state government and local government about installing modular refineries, probably initial local government in those areas. And I think this could be funded by the federal government, the state government, and some money appropriated from the allocation going to local government. We can't just be onlooking, and allow these people to destroy themselves. It's a case of self-destruction, and government owes the people of Niger Delta the responsibility to find solution to this problem once and for all.
Now, we are to spend about 4 trillion naira on subsidy. What hike in the price of crude, which should be a positive for us, is not really positive for Nigeria. Now, my question really is, can we institute other means of monitoring subsidy payments? Because many will say that smuggling is also part of it, and we are paying subsidy on smuggled products. Your reaction to this, Dr. Fawibe?
Tulu, I think we've said so much about the issue of subsidy, and
so much.
Government admits that subsidy payment is shouldn't be happening. The only group in Nigeria that have not been persuaded or remain unpersuaded is the labor union, and I don't know why they should hold this country to ransom. Frankly, I don't see the reason. And I know the government, for obvious reasons, is trying to tread cautiously about going ahead with subsidy removal wholesale, whereby some unscrupulous people will take advantage and use that to cause problem in the country, especially since we are facing problem of insecurity. They could come under the guise of the protests about removal of subsidy and cause mayhem, even in those areas where we still have some relative peace. So I think government out of is considering some of these issues where it's now suspending removal of subsidy, till probably another government comes into power. I was listening to somebody recently talking about the issue of subsidy removal, especially following the World Bank, the global lender, has been hammering about the unsustainability of paying subsidy. That maybe we cannot afford to fold our arms even between now and when another government comes in another 1 year. Because currently, if we are paying, according to NNPC, 758 billion naira subsidy payment in 3 months, what a hell of lure of money is that? Just because we are burning fuel and we are paying this amount, this kind of money, the money that could be used to address some of the basic problems confronted the economy. And more seriously, if we are borrowing money to be burning fuel, to be burning oil like this, to what extent can we beat our chest that we are doing the right thing? So government cannot afford to wait for another 1 year before we tackle this issue of subsidy, and we shall to have a way out as quickly as possible. And one of such ways is we have to devise a way by which those who are the rich ones in the society, should be able to pay for this subsidy. And on the other hand, the reverse of this is that we should reduce the amount of subsidy for the people who are vulnerable in the society. What I mean by this is that the workers, there's some groups of people, either in terms of household, because even the price of diesel has gone up, going through the roof, and so the workers that are taking buses, the taxi drivers, we should be making them to buy fuel at a subsidized price, and that is those who can enjoy the benefits of subsidy. And the other people in the society should be made to pay the full price. I know there was a time many years ago where there was price discrimination, of this nature that I'm talking about, and eventually it was abandoned. But the alternative is to wait for Dangote refineries, to come it on stream. And for example, I was reading a news report that the PortHarcourt refinery will not come on stream fully rehabilitated until about another 1 year. So you can imagine with the increase in the subsidy payment and importation, if we continue at this rate, I think, God forbid, we shouldn't allow this issue to lead Nigeria to bankruptcy. So government has to take effective measures. One is not sounding an alarm, but we can make projections about how much we are paying for subsidy now, whether it's sustainable. And so the clarion call of World Bank is not misplaced, and many Nigerians actually feel this way too.
Interesting. You answered my next question, because I wanted to say $1.5 billion is being invested in the PortHarcourt refinery, and we're also expecting Dangote refinery to come on stream. Will this really address all of the shortcomings that we face in that sector? That's on one side, Dr. Fawibe. Then if we continue like this, what's the outlook for the oil and gas industry in 2022?
Well, seeing is believing. We can only give NNPC the benefit of the doubt, that after spending that working sum of $1.5 billion, to rehabilitate the refinery, what we get at the end of the day will be worth the money that has been spent. So, and we generally know that the current leadership of NNPC tends to be very serious, and also professional and transparent. They will be able to do a good job, but the taste of the pudding is in the eating. So at the end of the rehabilitation, we'll be able to see what comes up. But it appears as if it's a comprehensive rehabilitation of the refineries, and we hope that, like I said, we hope that the completion will be worth the amount of the money. So if we are able to get the refinery working, that's about 210,000 barrels per day. And then when if we may not expect the refinery to be working at 100% capacity, if we are able to get as much as between 85 and 90% capacity, so that will be turning out as much as about 180,000 barrels per day of fuel, and majorly gasoline and diesel. So the importation will slow down. Then when we combine this with what Dangote refinery is producing, I think there will be a substantial, a lot of reduction. So the amount of subsidy that we'll be paying on imported fuel, will be very much reduced. But and that's and I want to throw in this point. It appears as if the customs and the immigration, they are not doing enough to curb smuggling, particularly the custom authorities. And this is an aspect that the federal government, the president, has to give marching order to the custom authorities, to be able to work around the clock to curb smuggling, because all these volumes of products said to be consumed in Nigeria is not true. It can't be true. Let me say it can't be true. So a lot of products for which we are paying subsidy, Nigerians are paying subsidy, is being smuggled out of the country. We only hope that there's no round trip in the game, as it happened some years ago, whereby no products were brought in, and the companies that are making claims for subsidy are actually cheating and the government or cheating the country. So it's a serious situation that requires comprehensive approach to tackling the issue of subsidy payment and subsidy removal.
I must thank you so much for your time. I've been speaking to Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of International Energy Services Limited, Dr. Diran Fawibe. Thank you, sir. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much for your time.